Taz Effect hits you like a wave, a fresh new spin on the news you crave. Turn the page and you see the light, a different angle that feels so right. No more waiting for the truth to show. Every story starts to glow. Daily news in a way you didn't know. It's the Taz Effect that steals the show. Open your mind, let the colors flow. Daily news in a way you didn't know.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Thank you for joining me here on the Taz Effect, daily news in a way you did not know you could use. For those joining me over the radio airwaves at gcpr.com, I'm sorry, gcpr.live, my apologies. Thank you for joining today. For those joining from all around social media, thank you as well for tuning in. We love to see you here daily, darling. There's so much to get into, but let's start with a Guthrie family recap. This is a twofer. So stop, look, and listen. Here comes the mighty information.
So what's going on with the mother of that lady on TV? Did they find her yet?
Not yet.
They haven't found her yet? Who took that lady's mother?
Nobody knows.
Do they at least have a suspect yet?
So far, they've detained 5 people.
Okay, well, that's something.
But nobody's been arrested.
After 2 weeks?
Yep, but there was a pizza that was delivered to the mother's house, and yesterday, the pool guy came to clean the pool.
They cleaned her pool, but haven't solved her kidnapping?
I don't know, maybe they're hopeful that she'll come home soon.
And where's her daughter, the lady on TV?
Savannah? Nobody knows.
So the lady on TV is suddenly no longer on TV with her mother who's been missing for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but her husband was spotted in Florida.
And what about the other sister, the one that they think did it?
Oh, Annie? Nobody knows.
So the family's just completely gone. She's not even trying to clear her name or anything at this point.
Apparently not.
And what about Harvey Levin? Is he still pen pals with the kidnappers?
Yep, the last email said that they were willing to bargain with the Guthrie family. They offered payment plans in exchange for info on their mother.
They put that lady on layaway? Somebody needs to go get her.
You're telling me.
Where can I start the bidding? I'm getting worried for this lady.
Do you have Bitcoin?
Who has Bitcoin?
Nobody knows.
So after 2 weeks, the sheriff has no updates, no leads, no suspects. The family's gone missing. Nobody knows where the family's at. We haven't heard from them. They're not searching for her. They're not on the TV. None of this makes any sense. It's giving cover up.
Starting to give Savannah Smollett.
The sheriff just said Savannah and her entire family, siblings and spouses included, are cleared in the whole case of their missing mom. Is the investigation over?
No.
Do they know who did it?
Also no.
So do they have evidence that clears the entire Guthrie family, siblings and spouses included? The sheriff said, and I quote, "Not going there." Not going where? To find the missing lady? What does that even mean? Does the FBI agree with them? What does Cash Money Patel say?
Nobody knows.
But Savannah did make a video telling the kidnapper that it's never too late to do the right thing. I don't know, 16 days feels a little late to me. This is an older lady we're talking about.
And the sheriff also said that it might take years.
I'm sorry, but I fear that lady does not have years.
But he's confident he'll find her alive.
Where? Is this old lady snatcher just gonna what? Keep her in the warehouse until somebody gives Chef Harvey some Bitcoin?
Speaking of Harvey, he got another email.
Another email?
Yep, but this time the mystery man made it clear that he will not be sending another email.
He said that like 18 times now. How many more emails does it take to get this lady back?
Well, and then the internet started to GoFundMe to pay the mystery man because now they want answers.
The internet did this, not the lady on TV. Here it says she makes $8 million a year on the Today Show.
To be fair, in her last video, she did say that she believes in the essential goodness that the kidnapper will do the right thing.
It has been over 2 weeks. I'm sorry, I cannot follow this story anymore. Somebody bring that lady home. But I fear it is not looking good for Miss Nancy Benet Ramsey.
Nobody knows.
I don't mean to laugh, but Nancy Benet Ramsey. Okay. First of all, let's recap real quick. I am still bothered by the fact that before the story of Nancy Guthrie going missing, before it made national news, I was the only one covering it. And I'm not saying this as a pat on the back. I'm saying this because I'm truly disturbed by it. Now, have I scooped legacy media previously? Yeah. Because I'm politically nosy. And I'm a Black queer woman in the US of A. It's how I stay alive. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. Hey! But, so you're telling me, and those of y'all that have been with me through various iterations of my journalism, the platforms that I've had, organizations that I've worked with in order to bring the news, you know that I've had close friends and family members go missing, and we all points bulletins out immediately. So you're going to tell me if I get to the point where I'm on a nationally syndicated show and my father or my stepmother goes missing, I'm going to let a lesser journalist scoop the story? I'm going to wait all this time before I put all hands on deck? Number one. Number two, she was at dinner with her daughter and son-in-law the night that she disappeared. And my question still stands. And maybe it's a white people thing. Maybe it is. I don't know. I do realize that there are cultural differences. Maybe it's a mainland thing. I don't know. But I'm not afraid to ask. Who drops off their mother or mother-in-law or any woman or femme presenting person, well, anybody at this point, and doesn't make sure that they get through the front door? Sorry about that. Who doesn't do that? Like, she's elderly. And if you're kidnapping somebody for ransom, would you make sure that the tracker for their pacemaker you're taking with you? You've made concessions to have their medication with them. So that means you would take this person on a day after they've re-upped on their prescriptions. They've got fresh prescriptions for everything. Like, and the fact that the kidnapper, or the way these emails are coming out, kidnappers, plural, are insinuating that they took her across state lines for what? For what? Because the family doesn't seem to be looking for her too hard. Number one, they want Bitcoin. That one, that market is very fickle. Two, that's easily traceable. And who's just like, did you do any research on the family as to, does somebody have a stockpile of Bitcoin somewhere that we don't know about? And why would you be negotiating prices at this point for Bitcoin? And then the person who's emailing is like, well, I don't want them to know that I'm emailing, but I'm saying stuff that only they would know, as far as like the kidnappers. So I'm sorry. Transcript of a voicemail just popped up. Well, thank you, Justin. Yeah, it's back, Nightbird, on TikTok. My apologies. Was getting a phone call. I just got the transcript of the phone call. But it doesn't add up. But I also want, I want y'all to listen to something. Now, y'all know I'm a book girly, okay? Through and through. Through and through. Those still waiting on the anti-racism journal and handbook, still on the way. I'm still going through this process. It's a lot more tedious than I thought. But I think we're at the last stages. I don't know. Okay. Every day they ask me to, but I want you to listen to something. Okay. Pay attention.
When I found out that Savannah Guthrie wrote a book, I was like, okay, cool. Mostly what God does sounds beautiful, right? Okay. Then I find out that in the book, she talks about how her and her cousins used to fake kidnappings when she was younger. I was like, okay, well, me and my cousins used to play cops and robbers. It's not too far off, right? No. Like, her and her cousins used to, like, legit fake kidnappings, and her cousin would drive them to Phoenix. They would stop at payphones along the way. They would call Nancy, and Nancy would then, like, play along with it. What? Like, we played in my grandpa's basement playing cops and robbers. Like, what? I just thought that was, like, a little bizarre. Like, you took
Oh, my bad. Y'all, I forgot to pop back on camera on the other places. Sorry. Hey, Annabelle. But something's not right. Something is not right with this story. I don't like to appear to be a victim blamer or anything else, but sometimes you got to ask the question. Sometimes you got to ask a question. Now, before we get into some headlines, y'all know Jelly Roll. And I love how folks want to identify as conservative when nothing about their lifestyle is conservative. Jelly Roll, yet again, is immersed in controversy. And of course, his wife is immersed in this controversy also. Now, look, I'm down for people finding the love of their life that, y'all down for the same shenanigans. Y'all gonna ride for one another because y'all into the same bullshittery, okay? But women, them presenting individual, can we collectively agree not to support men and male presenting individuals through causing harm and damage to other people, especially other women, other femme presenting individuals? And Jelly Roll, maybe you should have paid this woman off, because the one thing you shouldn't do is poke the bear that is an already problematic white woman on the internet. Because them heifers ain't got nothing to lose. And Jelly Roll, don't say the N-word.
So Jelly, I'm just a hick MAGA Christian Roll has been caught in yet another scandal. This one is with Nicole Arbor. She's a comedian, and she posted on Twitter that he has been threatening her for years, he and his wife, and that they tried to essentially give her hush money. She has released an audio of him allegedly using the N-word.
Beefing with Alvin because of it. Wait, I don't care because you're beefing with Tyler Farr, nigga. I'm not beefing with Tyler Farr. Well, that's what somebody told me, but I can't get you on the phone to tell me otherwise, and they send me a video, and you're on the video like, oh, by the way, Tyler Farr. Fuck.
Before anyone goes, Jelly Roll's never used the N-word. He actually has, even in a song. There's a song with The Game that he uses the N-word, and yes, you can still find it on Spotify. You can find the video on YouTube. It's there. He said it. And apparently,
whether he said it before or not, I'm so tired of things being justified or swept under the rug. Well, because they never said it before. I don't give a damn if you decided to wait until you were 157 damn years old and you decided to say it, and you don't have no melanin, you're not black. No, they're not a family of draft dodgers. They're a family of conscription dodgers. Whole different beast. Much worse. Let's not forget that the Trump family isn't here by choice. They're not patriots. They were expatriated. Yeah. But I don't. And this is also what I find funny about the current iteration of the conservative faction of the GOP. They'll sit there. What's their excuse? Septum ring theory, blue hair libtards. Do you see the people who are saying this? They're tatted. They're pierced. And first of all, if y'all are so conservative and you have a cooter biscuit, why do I see you on the internet? Why do I know your opinions on anything? You're supposed to be conservative. You're supposed to be shutting up in the kitchen making sandwiches. You're supposed to be waiting for the man in your life to tell you how to vote, what to think. As a matter of fact, you ain't supposed to be voting, sweetie, because you don't believe in all that. That's man's work, voting, making decisions and things. You just supposed to sit there and make sure don't no bad words come out your mouth. And that all your naughty bits is covered, including your wrist and your ankles. Because, wrist and ankles make the fellas go wild. So, why are you talking? Why are you talking? And you can't be a trad wife if you're a content creator. That's a job. That's an occupation. It's something where you make decisions on your own. Yeah. Now, Whiskey Leaks is at it again. Coming from Mediaite, Fox's Jen Griffin reports Pete Hegseth ordered sudden firing of top Army officer, adding to a climate of fear among military brass. How you gonna fear somebody who can't stay sober enough to let you know what time of day it is, let alone the day of the week? That man keeps pissing on himself in front of hotels. He has a hard-on for women in the military because he can't keep up with their standards. That's why he thinks that the standards are too low. And I jump scare. There is a climate of fear, uncertainty, and unwillingness to speak up growing among military brass after Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth forced out a top Army officer, according to a report by Fox News Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin. Keep in mind, this is Fox News reporting this. And isn't it amazing that the people that the MAGA base, the largest faction of the GOP to date in the United States, MAGA, the mass deportations, we don't want no woman leading us, loves the Australian-owned Fox News. The same Fox News owner, Rupert, that owns the Wall Street Journal. Yes, the same Wall Street Journal that's been sticking it to Trump. Now Fox News is waking up going, oh, we can tell the truth about Trump and not get fired. According to Griffin's report, the ousted officer is Army Colonel Dave Butler, who was serving as Chief of Army Public Affairs and Chief Advisor to Army Secretary Dan Driscoll. Driscoll is currently in Geneva, Switzerland, as part of the Ukraine negotiating team, and Hegseth demanded that he fire Butler last Thursday, Griffin reported. The Army Secretary is viewed as a close ally to Vice President J.D. Vance, having attended Yale Law School with him, and resisted Hegseth's pressure to fire Butler for months because of his ongoing contributions to the transformation of the Army, Griffin wrote, reporting how Butler was actually on a list to be promoted, not fired. Hegseth, you like to drink and cheat with questionably faced white women. J.D. Vance likes to sniff latex gloves and put his Peter Whacker in the pull-out couch. Y'all not the same. Y'all wasn't going to be buddy-buddies. But Griffin wrote the following, and I quote, Butler served as the head of public affairs for the Joint Chiefs when General Mark Milley was chairman and was slated to receive his first star. His name appeared for 2 years in a row on an Army list of 34 officers selected for promotion. That list has been held up by Hegseth for nearly 4 months because he reportedly has concerns about 4 to 5 officers selected by the Army board, but by law, he cannot remove them from the list. Butler volunteered to take his name off the promotion list if it would help unlock the other promotions, according to an Army official. Hegseth, trying to dim the light of other people will not just increase your brain. You are not the Grinch, okay? This is not Whoville. There's not going to be some wonderful lesson that's going to increase the P, the mustard seed betwixt your ears like the Grinch's heart grew. It's not going to happen. That ship has sailed. And according to your sec death history, you blew that ship up. You thought it was a narco-terrorist because you're not used to movement up there. So yeah. The leopards are feasting upon one another. It's about time. Took them long enough. But you know. Now. Oh yeah, and in Illinois, there's a Republican that is now denouncing their own party because folks were out here making fun of J.D. Pritzker's weight. This is where we've come. User social security number. Look, it's Septum Sally. Thank you for coming in here, boosting my content, number one. And two, letting everybody know that you struggle with 2 + 2 = 4. But this is where we've come in politics. That instead of addressing the issues, instead of putting together comprehensive platforms for the betterment of your constituency, you're out here making fun of people's weight. Yeah, I see, chicken. User's social security number's gone. But we still don't have any movement on the east wing of the White House, the purported Trump ballroom. We don't have a budget. We still have technically a federal government shutdown. No wars have ended. No movement towards any healthcare subsidies for the people who actually matter in this country. But you want to know what we do have? Trump appoints his 26-year-old ex-receptionist to commission overseeing White House ballroom construction. For a real estate developer, he does not understand the order of operations to getting things done. And we have no more thieves in there. Thieves in where? In the ballroom that never existed? Because we're up to the second architect on this project. Demolition has already occurred. No permits have been gotten. Construction crews haven't been paid. So the White House has been blacklisted from that. And now we have somebody. Oh, let's get into it. President Donald Trump Sr. has appointed his 26-year-old receptionist to the Arts Commission tasked with overseeing the construction of his White House ballroom. On Thursday, Chamberlain Harris is set to be sworn in to the Commission of Fine Arts. Historically, the commission has been responsible for advising major design projects carried out by the presidential administration. Harris, the Washington Post noted in a Tuesday report, does not possess the art expertise that traditionally comes with commission appointees. The 26-year-old, however, has been in Trump circles since his first term when she was an executive assistant. She continued working under Trump after he left office and now serves as the deputy director of Oval Office operations. So let me guess. She took his advice on the highlights to get in her hair, what plastic surgery to get, what wardrobe to wear, how to do her makeup. And if you think I'm joking, I'm not. Cassidy Hutchinson discussed this in her book, that Trump would, down to the actual dye color, name, and yeah. So at 26 years old, you too can have power in the White House. What would you do for a Trump appointment? Now, keep in mind, we still have ambassadorships that are vacant. We still have positions in the administration vacant. We are still working on a skeleton crew while we don't have a balanced budget. But what would you do if Trump looked at you? Are you a retiree utilizing Social Security? The madness continues. Jesus Christ is coming. Repent. Oh my goodness. How about you actually read the Sky Daddy Handy Dandy Handbook? Do what the book tells you to do. Study to show thyself approved unto God. And realize that if you want respect for your religion, you must respect the existence of other religions and the absence of religion and spirituality in other people. Y'all been claiming that Jesus the Christ is coming back for his second coming for about 275 years at this point. 275 years. Like, I'm going to need y'all to stop, because it clearly says, no man will know the day, the time, nor the hour. Sky Daddy, yes, the Handy Daddy Sky Daddy Handbook. Papi chulo. But Social Security is asking some retirees to pay back thousands. I thought we fixed all of that. I thought we fixed all of that. But let's get into it, because, few things are more unsettling than opening a letter from the Social Security Administration, SSA, demanding that you repay thousands of dollars in benefits. For retirees who depend on those monthly checks, the notice can feel sudden and deeply disruptive. But Social Security overpayments happen more often than most people realize. Understanding why they occur can help you avoid money mistakes and reduce the risk of repayment later. So, here's the thing. Because most people that get caught up on this are either people who have nobody around them, don't pay attention, or happen to be white. Please go over your benefits information. Go over with a fine-tooth comb, especially with the administration that we have at the helm right now, and because everything is working on a skeleton crew. You do not want to get to a point where you have been cut off, or you receive a letter stating that you have to repay something, and then it's going to take months or a year for you to get in to be able to speak to someone to get this resolved. We joke and we kid about a lot of things, and people are like, oh, you're being dramatic. Not with this administration. Not with this administration. You have to be actively preemptive. Actively. Yeah, we know, but Trump isn't leading America. Trump can't even lead himself to the potty. All right. Crystal Hefner, yes, that Hefner, files complaint over Hugh Hefner's explicit scrapbooks potentially being made public. Sometimes I am verklempt. I am shook at when people want to have an issue after they willingly get into positions with people. Like there are certain people that I would not enter a friendship or a romantic relationship with, because I know how they get down with the get down. Everybody knows how they get down with the get down. And that's beyond my comfort zone. So I wouldn't. I never had a desire to be in the Playboy Mansion or the Annex property. Y'all didn't know about the Annex property, huh? No. And I've met some Playboy bunnies, some house bunnies, if you will. I know the trophies, the souvenirs, all of these things. I know the paperwork that was signed that, hey, you're signing away your likeness. I wouldn't do that. It's Hugh Hefner. Okay, Hugh Hefner was going to make sure that his estate continued to profit well after he was gone. Okay? Child, let's get into it. Crystal Hefner has entered a dispute with the Hugh M. Hefner Foundation over the potential release of the late Playboy editor-in-chief's sexually explicit scrapbooks. Crystal, 39, filed regulatory complaints with the Attorney Generals of California and Illinois over her concerns that Hugh Hefner's foundation is mishandling his private documents, including scrapbooks that allegedly feature explicit images of women and, as she believes, underage girls. These images did not appear in Playboy magazines, according to Crystal. Here's the thing. Instead of you protecting them from being released, if you believe underage girls are in there, one, why didn't you speak up before? Especially when his ass was alive. That's number one. Two, why aren't you saying, hey, investigate this, instead of saying, oh, they're mishandling it? That's what I thought. My focus is on how Hugh Hefner's personal scrapbooks chronicle private moments that took place behind closed doors. Do not forget that she believes that minors are included in these scrapbooks. Right, chicken. He liked them young, not illegal. Crystal said during a press conference alongside attorney Gloria Allred, oh, Jesus, this is why we're doing this. Ladies and femme-presenting individuals, if you find yourself in a pickle and you need legal representation, do not get Gloria Allred. She is not out to get you justice, okay? And if you got any amount of melanin, don't do it. Don't do it. On Tuesday, February 17th, there are serious and unresolved concerns about the scope of what these books contain. The materials span decades, beginning in the 1960s, and may include images of girls who were underage at the time and could not consent to how their images would be retained or controlled. Well, here's the thing. He was an editor-in-chief of multiple publications, okay? We know him most notably for Playboy. She's 39. So the paperwork let's play devil's advocate and say there were minors that were photographed and are in these scrapbooks that didn't make the final cut. There would be paperwork that was filled out by parents, but even still, when putting forth a book, if you're going to utilize somebody else's name, likeness, their story, you got to have additional paperwork signed. So these people have to be contacted. And why are you so adamant about this? I looked into this. No one who could potentially be in these scrapbooks is making a fuss. This is a man whose girlfriends, plural, at one time had reality TV shows. They were doing interviews telling about the hanky-panky, oochie-wally-wally that they were doing. I truly believe that, especially in 2026, if somebody felt objectified or abused by Hugh Hefner, especially since he been kicked the bucket, okay, that man is to the point where even the British Museum is looking like, I think he's ready for us to harvest. The Hefner exhibit coming on. Come on now. At this point, people would have spoken up. Especially the amount of Playboy bunnies that, because of addiction, because of multitude of things, have lost their money. This would be a cash grab. And I'm not saying that other victims from other people are speaking up because of that. I'm just saying opportunists are everywhere. And if there was going to be an opportunity, so my question is, Crystal, Chris, what did you do that you don't want out? What are you photographed as to be doing that you're afraid is going to be mixed into the sauce of what could be publicized? That's what I want to know, Crystal, because I know the average person, their brain is going, well, he's a man and he was all about sex. What did he do to her? I'm a realistic person, and I know women can be monsters too. Crystal, what did you do that you are afraid is in it? Because you haven't said that you saw it. You can't confirm it. What are you afraid? And because of your age in the relationship, one, why aren't you in control of this estate? Why aren't you at the helm of the foundation? And three, what was chronicled that you are afraid they are about to expose that you did? Because I know plenty of former magazine owners, different photographers. There was a magazine based out of New York that I did a few spreads for with multiple women years ago, actually in my 30s, not that many years ago. One of the main photographers passed away a few years ago. None of us freaked out. Like, oh my God, if they release the picture, release them. Like, we signed the paperwork. And honestly, the pictures that they chose for like cover spreads and that, they were great pictures, but There were some pictures we wished, because we've talked about it. We get together every so often. We've talked about it. Bottles coast to coast and international, where we're like, I wish they would have used these pictures. I wish they used, like, if somebody was to be like, oh, they're going to posthumously release these pictures, baby, I'll be the first one at that party. Y'all doing a release party? I'll be standing next to my own pictures. You feel me? Another prolific photographer that pretty much photographed any and everybody, model or not, in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio area. When he passed away unexpectedly, nobody was shaking in their boots. Nobody thought he had minors anywhere. No, nothing. If his wife would have been like, hey, I'm going to do a last hoorah in honor of my husband, and I'm going to release a book of all the pictures that, edited, unedited, didn't, get put out, didn't get put in galleries or whatever. Nobody's going to be like, oh no, I need to fight you. No. And we know the paperwork we signed. We know that there's certain images that will forever belong to us. We know that there's certain images that will forever belong to the photographer, the editor, their foundations, and things like that. You know the paperwork that you sign. But when somebody's trying to insinuate things, especially with the climate that we're in now, I'm going to need definitives. And I'm sorry, when somebody calls upon Gloria Allred, oh, hell no. No, baby, no. Okay? Just like before Jesse kicked the bucket, if I heard a black person going, I'm Jesse Jack, you coontastic bitch. Like, I know that you up to some no good. Okay? That's what you up to. Absolutely not. And like I said, when you're going to put out a book, and you can ask people who have done memoirs and stuff like that, you got to get additional paperwork signed. You have to reach out to these people and go, is it okay that I use your name? Is it okay that I use it? You got to have it in writing. So if you're claiming that there's minors in there and this foundation is willing to put minors out there and have people in sexually explicit, blah, 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 I would think these people would have came out and spoke at this point. Yeah, they're gonna need a Ouija board to call it. Yeah, they gonna need it. You know what, British Museum? You ain't even got to wait for him to calcify. Just go ahead and get him now. You ain't got to put him on display. Just get him. Just go ahead and get him. Black folk, I love y'all. And to everybody else, can y'all stop posting in memorandum pictures of Jesse Jackson with King? Y'all do realize before King died, he did not trust Jesse Jackson. The King family does not trust Jesse Jackson. Let's not do that. It's not. He's not an icon. Reverend King described him as an opportunist. Hey. So let's not do that. Really quickly, darlings. Because y'all know we got it. We have a GCPR ad. So I'm going to run that and let y'all take in the background. See you in 2 and 2.
You're listening to GCPR, the heartbeat of the World Wide Web. From the morning commute to the late night grind, we're right there with you. But we're more than just music and news. We're a platform for the voices that make this community move. Does your business have a story to tell? Because we have the ears you want to reach. From live remotes at your front door to digital campaigns that follow our listeners wherever they go. GCPR Radio connects you to the people who matter most, your neighbors. Let's grow together. Visit us at gcpr.live/advertise-with-us.html. And let's get your brand on the airwaves today. GCPR, where every voice matters.
Yes. Now, for those that may not be aware, there was an avalanche in California yesterday. So here's the update on that. 8 skiers confirmed dead in California avalanche, 1 missing amid search. 8 of the 9 missing skiers who were caught in an avalanche in California's Sierra Nevada mountain range have been found dead, officials said, making it the deadliest U.S. avalanche in over 4 decades. The skiers went missing on February 17th after an avalanche the length of a football field swept through the Castle Peak area northwest of Lake Tahoe, according to the Nevada County Sheriff's Office. They were part of a group of 15 people returning from a 3-day trek in a rugged but popular recreational area. 6 members of the group survived and were rescued after crews faced the weather conditions for hours to get to them. 2 were taken to hospitals with non-life-threatening injuries, the sheriff's office said. The survivors range from age 30 to 55. The final skier who remains missing is presumed dead, Nevada County Sheriff Shannon Moon said at a news conference. She added that authorities have spoken with the families and informed them operations were shifting from rescue to recovery. The avalanche erupted as a powerful winter storm battered the region with heavy snow and high winds, the strongest winter storm of the year for the Lake Tahoe area. Interstate 80 was closed over the Donner Pass, and up to 30 inches of snow were reported, according to Reno Gazette Journal, part of the USA Today network. Officials said the bodies of the 8 skiers have not been removed because of heavy snow, high winds, and a persistent threat of avalanches. The longer that we continue to have people out there and exposed, the higher chance we put our rescuers in danger, said Captain Rusty Green of the Nevada County Sheriff's Department. I do not like reporting on stories like that, but Annabelle, nice to hear that. You got your cooter cup receipt. If you did not get a cooter cup, make sure you go on over to the Tazisms. That's TAZ as in zebra, IS as in Sam, MS as in Sam.com. Okay, get you a cooter biscuit, whether it's a sticker, a cup, a shirt. And if you're black and you a nerd, we got new blurred merch over there. We also got some Oranga Trump merch over there. We're equal opportunity over there. If you are deciding on whether or not you're trying to figure out how much man castity somebody has and where they got it from, like Sophie that says that I'm mad. I don't know where I'm mad at, but okay, you came here, dumb. But okay. They're gonna get you some merch. And till the end of the month of February, use promo code BHM26 and get 20% off site-wide. Get it off your whole purchase. Okay. Yes, there's a cooter cup. Of course there's a cooter cup. We don't have this around here. Why do I sound like Whitney Gilbert? If you know. All righty. Take a listen, because there's some confusion regarding passports, the U.S., and all things in between. Stop, look, and listen. Here comes some information.
I want to force everybody to use a passport inside their own country because that way the only valid passports will end up being owned by Republicans. That's what this whole voting registration bullshit's all about. They want to make sure that they can choose that only their people are the ones with valid ID. That's how this goes, okay? If a passport's the only form of acceptable ID for you to be able to vote, guess who controls the passports? Marco Rubio. Guess who sits at the right hand of Donald Trump right on that couch, right next to J.D. Vance and his stain? It's Marco Rubio. He's sitting right there. He's the Secretary of State. Secretary of State's in charge of passports. Secretary of State can go over to a switch on a board and just go ahead and mark that every single Democrat in this country has an invalid passport. That's how that goes, and that's how that will go the second you let them do this. The fact that people can't see this is driving me freaking insane. We had Elon Musk and Doge came in at the beginning of this administration and they stole everybody's piece of data. They go ahead and run all that inside of Palantir. They put all that together with your social media. They take the Palantir data, they take the Doge data, and then they want to put it next to the voter roll data. They've been going state to state demanding the voter registration data. They even said that in Minnesota. They said, we'll pull ICE out of Minnesota. Give us all the voter rolls. Do you guys not see the end game here? The end game here is to make sure that when you go vote, that you have to go hand them a passport. And they'll take that passport and they'll scan it. And then suddenly it's going to come up that your passport was stolen. Your passport's invalid. We have questions about your passport. And then, oh, look at that. Suddenly on election day, because we're only going to allow people to vote in person at election day at those exact polling places for voter safety bullshit. Suddenly, all these people are going to get turned away from the polls. Suddenly, all these people aren't going to be able to go vote and have their voices heard and actually be able to choose a legitimate government because all these people are going to be declared individually themselves as illegitimate. And when you say to me, how can you think that this would even happen? What's the possibility? What's the precedent for this? Oh, I don't know. The story of black people in the South from 1865 to 1965. How do you not know that everything they're trying to do is an exact fucking thing that they did to black people for 100 fucking years in front of everybody's goddamn eyes, and to the point we had to send the military down there to actually make sure that some votes got counted, and that shit's still getting cooked. That shit's still getting rocked by the same exact Supreme Court that has been installed by the same exact illegitimate government. Over and over and over again, we got to sit through this bullshit time and time again to learn the same exact lessons that y'all wouldn't have to fucking relive if you would just read one fucking book.
Not only that, it's not just about reading a book, because you know the history. You keep denying the history. If you stop denying that it will happen to you, let me repeat this to you all for what feels like the millionth time. Black people are the litmus test for the United States. When the powers that be see that you are comfortable and you have created enough narratives, enough jargon to make it socially acceptable for certain things to exist or go a certain way, they do it to you. You've given them the okay. You've written the prescription. They're just turning it over to the pharmacy now. And the amount of people I've seen in comment sections where this is being discussed, going, well, technically, is it me putting gas in my car to drive to the polls a poll tax? No. First of all, I'm not a color. I'm a person, capitalized. And what about 3 generations of scum says that I like Trump? And who was discussing Trump right now? If you're going to be stupid, at least conceal it while you're in my presence. Because it amazes me that someone so dilapidated behind the eyes would have so much confidence to come in here and say something so utterly ridiculous. But no, back to what I was saying. You choosing your mode of transportation to get to the polls is not a poll tax. You choosing to eat breakfast before you, it's not. Stop making excuses for things. Because haven't you all learned from more recent history that the more you make excuses for things, the quicker they're going to do it to you? See, do y'all not remember how quickly people went from holding up mass deportation signs and chanting, "Lock her up," to now they're crying because their loved ones are the ones being profiled, locked up, not viewed as the good ones? We just discussed paying for a passport, Susie. That's how we got here. Read the room. But you don't want to admit where the litmus test is. This is why they're currently trying to convince you that the litmus test for the United States right now is Israel. If Jim Crow wasn't the litmus test, why would Israel be? If chattel slavery wasn't the litmus test, why would Israel be? If the movement bombing wasn't the litmus test, why would Israel be? If Lake Lanier wasn't the litmus test, why would Israel be? If the Red Summer of 1919, the Red Summer of 1920, the Red Summer of 1921 weren't litmus tests, why would Israel be? If the foundation of gynecology wasn't the litmus test, why would Israel be? If white people essentially leasing out their children via domestic indentured servitude wasn't the litmus test, why would Israel be? If creating the foster care system to continue to garner free labor out of Black children wasn't the litmus test, why would Israel be? If currently working overtime to protect the pedophile in chief and his billionaire wannabe buddies isn't the litmus test, why would Israel be? Oh, that's right, because Israel's the only thing that you can use out open in the public against specifically Black women and get Coontastic Coalition member Black women to go along with you and do the hard work for you for free. And by the time you realize it, your great replacement theory has already taken over. You've already lost the love of your life. That cushy job you love so much, you no longer have, and the position no longer exists. Because the education and more, you can't even garner here in the United States anymore. Because you keep forgetting that they're removing positions, degrees, etc. But you don't care about that. But Israel. Everything is about Israel. That's the litmus test. Well, if Israel is the litmus test, legalize abortion here. If Israel is the litmus test, give us universal health care. If Israel is the litmus test, have training facilities and temporary housing for immigrants. Teach them how to assimilate here the proper way, like they do for Israel. I mean, there is one part of Israel that has served as a litmus test here. The whole part of being a safe haven for pedophiles. And jump scare. Remember, the tagline for this show is daily news in a way you didn't know you could use. It's not placating for your comfort. Oh, I know, sis. I know it would involve caring for the population and being honest. But if you're going to come out with your whole chest and go, well, Palestine, Gaza should be. Now, with that being said, do not forget to tune in tonight on GCPR.live. It'll be heart to heart on GCPR YouTube and TikTok. It will be Rouse High Exalted. And yes, they get higher than giraffe nostrils. But they do talk about some pretty heavy stuff. And don't forget, Dave the Viking, aka Aquaman, is still out doing the good work for the good people, boots on the ground, slanging dildos for equity, being the good lava to melt the ice. You know. And do not forget, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, I will be on TikTok for the continuation of my series, Learning Through Literature, as we continue to peruse the parameters of Virginia Roberts Giuffre's memoir, Nobody's Girl. If you're not familiar with Virginia Roberts Giuffre, she was one of the most outspoken victims of Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. And later on tonight on GCP are over all of the ways that you can listen, view, and listen to GCPR Radio is Conversations with T. Nathan. Now, starting bright and early tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Sound of Coffee with Thomas the Villain Bishop will be all over the airwaves. So make sure you check that out. If you have not been caught up on all things Epstein, you can traipse right on over to YouTube at TazJ77 and go to the Epstein/Maxwell Files playlist and get all caught up. And if you have any other questions, just hit your girl up and I will do my best to answer them for you. But as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. And do not forget, do not do anything that would cause you to require bail, not in this economy. And most importantly, it only requires bail should you get caught. Till next time, people. Till next time.
For just $10, you can commission a custom novelty commercial from any GCPR host. Want to hear them pitch a romantic getaway to Crow Pussy, Mississippi? Done. Need a shout out from Saint Swole Meat Vacations and Dating Services? We're on it. From the somber services of Boab Funeral Homes to the questionable listings of the $10 House Matchmaking, or even a high-flying plug for Cranibus Catering, the script is yours.